I'll take you beyond what I've seen to what I've truly felt. Hello, my friend. I'm Pauline, and you're turned into my podcast, where I share my stories, reflections, and discoveries about travel and living abroad. Here it's all about real experience, yeah, maybe a little romanticized, and the emotions that come with exploring the world, adapting to new cultures, and finding yourself along the way.
A lot like Christmas, joys in every soul.
That's how Sri Lanka surprised me right at the airport by the group of singers who prepared a little performance at Christmas time. That was so cute and really made me feel excited because that's quite a good level of hospitality. So I was curious what's waiting for me inside the country.
We came to explore some historical place, historical building. I'm not really into some historical places from colonial times. I'm more into animals. But it's still interesting and must see if you are in Sri Lanka, and especially if you are interested in history.
In this episode, I will tell you some facts about Sri Lanka that you probably didn't expect to hear. Let's go! I hope it's gonna be a very interesting one. Sri Lanka has an extremely beautiful nature. You can find everything there, starting from foggy hills and London like landscapes and weather, to waterfalls, tropical jungles, rice fields, and tea plantations.
Now we are on some excursion around Sri Lanka. We are going around special places here in the central Sri Lanka, but we live on the shore in the south. So we have decided to go to explore the central part as well because it has plenty of things to see. For example, here we live in some hotel. We spent here one night. The hotel with a view on a waterfall. Isn't that amazing? I was so surprised when I realized that we can see the waterfall just through our window. Isn't that cool? Isn't that amazing? Well, now it's 6 a.m. in the morning and we usually wake up that early because we have to be on time, be on schedule, and make sure we go to every place that is on our list. But do you see the view? I just cannot stop enjoying and watching that. Wow. I didn't know that I like Sri Lanka that much because actually here you can see so many places. We have already been to uh, 3 historical places, 2 or 3 natural places. Today we're gonna visit tea plantation, some picturesque train, and something else. I'm not sure what exactly, but I think I will film everything for you and stay with me.
Now I want to share with you my personal top of must-visit places. Mountain Sigiriya, which has a great story about one of powerful brothers that wanted the throne and decided to make something like a fortress to protect himself and his servants, staying up high in the mountain, actually chilling in the pool that he made for himself on the mountaintop and watching his 500 topless women dancing in front of him. Sounds like a dream for every man, doesn't it, huh?
There are around 1,200 steps here, and sometimes it is so scary to go down and go up because The view, as you can see, and the height is very dangerous.
Are you ready for my next location on the list? And it is a spice garden.
We arrived in a spice garden. Here we knew about what spices grow in Sri Lanka, and actually there are quite a lot of them. You can see how is curry made, how masala is made, how cocoa beans are grown. Actually, it's an amazing place. Oh, by the way, I am right near some fruit. I'm not sure, was that maybe cocoa bean? I will Google.
What I really loved about the place is the interactive part. I know how important our five senses are, and there was something like a spa for my nose. I wasn't only being educated by the guide, but smelled, touched, and sensed everything around me. Now let's just have fun and count how many times our local guide said curry. Just text me in the comments below how many did you hear?
Готовить карри. Вот так снимай. Минуты есть мяки, бели мяки. Вот так включай. Готовить карри одно овощи. Карри. Я рассказал, листья карри, это одно специи. Листья карри, вот это. Там 5 специй. Все смесь. Можно делать порошок. Силёный порошок. Это Шри-Ланка карри овощи. Для овощей.
You can also smell everything in here, try everything in here, and also buy anything you want in their shop.
Let's say the last location on my list that impressed me a lot was Ambuluwawa Tower. I didn't even want to go upstairs that day because I was a little tired as we woke up really early, so I felt like nothing can impress me anymore. But I was so wrong. The tower looked like a princess tower, and the feature of it is that the higher you go, the narrower the aisle gets. So when you finish your climb, you find yourself alone, standing on just one step that can have only one person. The guides didn't actually tell us the history of this place. They just said that the tower was built just because it's beautiful. But later, I read on the internet that it's like a part of Buddhist temple, and I feel like the tower is saying something like, the higher you grow, the less people you have with you. Or maybe some deeper philosophy of life and death. I don't want to make any pessimistic guesses, so maybe you can share with me your own thoughts in the comments below. Now I want to go to a more shocking part. People may call it a cultural shock. Well, first thing that literally broke my heart was the dogs. I love animals, and Sri Lanka has so many species that live in this beautiful nature. Some of wild animals, for example, elephants, are walking around and can appear right on the road. We often met walking peacocks, and thankfully, we didn't meet any snakes. But we visited a snake farm to see what kind of snakes live there in Sri Lanka. Saw a cobra when my blood just ran cold when I saw this aggressive and dangerous snake. And in Sri Lankan National Park Yala, you can also see many wild animals and feel the nature of Sri Lanka with all your bones. But as much as people in Sri Lanka protect their wild animals, they do not care about dogs. These poor creatures just walk hungry and super anorexic. I can't talk about it a lot because I am about to cry. However, people have to know that dogs in Sri Lanka really need help. I did what I could, and every time I went out of my house, I had some dog food with me to feed poor babies. Maybe if you ever visit Sri Lanka, you can also help some dogs giving them food. They just can't say I'm hungry. Keep that in mind. Karma really works. Trust me. The next shocking story is about health. We had some health issues while being in Sri Lanka, so we had to visit a doctor there. We started to look for a hospital to visit and saw the reviews on Google Maps, and one of them is very illustrative. Total scam for foreigners. Unfortunately, this place is straight up thieves. Their company policy is to massively overcharge foreigners. They make you pay excessive deposit payment and add up anything to the bill to make it magically go to the amount of deposit and more. They force you into services and consumables you do not need. And that's exactly what we faced with. Thankfully, we knew that they can scam, and we were literally fighting for the price. We bargained like at the market. And I wish you saw their faces when we told them that they are lying to people. I was so angry about that, and I feel like it isn't right. I understand that it is a poor country, but it's not the way to make the country prosperous. I'm sorry for the noise, but it's the sound of real Sri Lanka. I think you can say a lot about traffic in the country that has a vehicle called Crazy Bus and has no speed limiting signs at all. Well, the most popular vehicles are tuk-tuks and bikes. As I love saying, if you didn't rent a bike there, you didn't see Sri Lanka. Mission Impossible is to make a very famous picture in Sri Lankan train, but we're going to try that. I'm not sure if we can, but we're gonna try. One of the brightest memories from Sri Lanka was the famous train. As I mentioned before, it was included in our tour, and our target was to make those famous Pinterest pictures in the train. The train was so crowded, but thanks God we had a great guide that told us where we should go and who we should pay to make those pictures. I honestly couldn't imagine that this mission is gonna be so fun, because the feeling of freedom and risk you have getting your body out of the moving train is unforgettable. You absolutely should try that. And oh my God, we managed to do the pictures. Why do people actually go to Sri Lanka? To learn or practice surfing, of course. And I have to say that surfing there is much more pleasant than just swimming because the sea is quite dirty and rough. Waves are good for surfing but not for swimming. So we are not the exception. And of course, we were surfing there every day, starting from 7 a.m. in the morning. We were up and ready for our surfing time. I fell in love with surfing in Sri Lanka. It is an addiction, and I knew a lot more about waves I love and surfboards that are suitable for me. So, if you go to Sri Lanka, surfing is a must try for sure. Despite all the dark sides of Sri Lanka, I feel so fulfilled and inspired by the country. As I love saying, each country is trying to teach you a lesson. Here's what Sri Lanka taught me. Number 1, always be generous and help others. Number 2, the world isn't perfect, but it is what it is, and we have to accept that. Number 3, surfing isn't just a sport, it's a deep philosophy of the ocean. There is always your wave, and you have to feel that to catch. That was me, Pauline, and my amazing trip to Sri Lanka full of contrasts and different emotions. Thumbs up, leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episodes. Love you all. Bye.